6:59.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Wareham School Committee. It is October 5th, and November 5th. One of those senior moments. I'd like to welcome everyone. At this particular point in time, I'd like to start the meeting with public participation. So if there's anyone that would like to address the school committee on any issue, please step forward to that table, identify yourself, and we'd love to hear from you. Is there anyone at this time that would like to address the school committee? Welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Sarah Lima from the middle school, high school PTA. I'm just letting you guys know now that we're about 2 weeks away from our comedy show. So I have tickets here if anybody needs to purchase them. They're $15. I need to sell 550 seats. So I'm hoping that I can sell some tickets tonight to you guys. Okay?
Thank you, Sarah.
All righty. Thank you.
Don't go away.
Is there anyone else at this time? What is the date on that again, Sarah?
November 20th.
November 20th.
$15 a ticket.
It's a good deal. Please see Sarah Lima. She has to sell 550 of them. Is there anyone else at this particular time that would like to address the school committee? Seeing none, I'll go over to good news. Madam Superintendent?
And I would like to ask Mr. Palladino to come forward, and we will be introducing the track team.
I'm going to ask Coach Gardner to come up here and help me out with this. We are going to recognize the winter and spring track team for receiving the MIAA Academic Excellence Award for overall GPA. And I'm going to have him introduce the student athletes and talk to you a little bit more about the award.
Thank you.
This is very disheartening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. The award comes from the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, MIAA, the governing body for high school athletics in the state. Something you have to apply for. You have to have a minimum GPA of 3.0 or 85 if you're going the 100-point scale. Our winter team was, I believe, 85.7, the highest during the winter. And our spring team was, I believe, 89.7, again, the highest in the spring. And it's just something that I found looking over through some documents and thought something that the girls should be recognized for. And because without the success in the classroom, they wouldn't be able to be even on the track. And I think that's something that should be recognized. And that's why I applied for it, and the MIA granted us some nice certificates that the girls will get. And I thank you for having us here tonight to recognize them as well.
It's our pleasure.
So if you don't mind, we'll start with the winter track, and I'll have Mr. Gardner announce the student athletes, and we'll give them their certificates. Sure, yeah,
Could we have them all line up?
absolutely.
Thanks.
Is this the spring? Or the
So when you get called up, don't go away. Just stay right here.
oh, I'm sorry.
Caitlin Berger, Emily Cummings, Kelly Peterson, Brianna Williams, Maddie St. Julian, Raylyn Pina, Davin Silva, Angela Pearl, Cheyenne Nolan, Julia Flugel, Kayla Derby, Kendall Haley, Lexis Rakoski Calvin, Paige Feshkins, Zaria Lima, Amelia Putzig, Brett McSherry, Elizabeth Griffith, Hunter Thatcher, Karina Suarez, Maddie Kozlowski, Sarah Tima, Alexia Barber, Chastity Pohl, Madison Huff, Ruth Gonzalez, Sarah Gallagher, Trinity Andrews, Victoria Baltimore, Victoria Ekstrom. That is the indoor team.
I'd like to, is that, you got another group to call, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, will these young ladies please stay there, because I'd like to have the school committee shake their hands.
Go.
Thank you very much.
And then the spring team.
Before they go, could we all have a nice hand of applause for the indoor team, please? Thank you.
And the spring team will have many of the same people, but also some different ones as well. Alexis Rakowski-Calvin, Caitlin Berger, Emily Cummings, Emma Wynn, Maddie St. Julian, Kia Fernandez, Alana LaFontaine, Paige Feskins, Zaria Lima, Kendall Haley, Julia Flugel, Angela Pearl, Mariah Whitney, Cheyenne Nolan, Kaylee Fernandez, Maddie Kozowski, Hunter Thatcher, Lisa Wynn, Karina Suarez, Brett McSherry, Shayla Ewing, Sarah Tima, Victoria Ekstrom, Marquise Tavares Silva, Madison Huff, Chastity Pohl, Sarah Gallagher, Ruth Gonzalez, Sienna Fernandez, Paige Cogswell, Heather Holmgren, Kelsey Ireland, Elizabeth Ruiz, Daniela Cobb, Hannah Violet, Hannah Edelston, and Carolyn King.
Thank you. Again, we'd like to shake their hands.
Let's go that way.
Let's have a nice round of applause for this track team. They're awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Palladino.
Nice job.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Thank you. Any comments from the school committee? This is what it's all about, academic excellence and athletic excellence. It doesn't get any better than that. Any comments from the school committee? We're good? Thank you again. Congratulations. All right. Well, we're not done with good news, right?
That's right.
All right, Madam Superintendent, any more good news?
I do have. A while ago, at the beginning of school, we started a new campaign, Tell Us Something Good. And what that is, there's so many good things happening out in our schools. We've asked people to nominate what's going on that they would like us to know about. And so we've put together a small video clip that will highlight 3 of Tell Me Something Good.
Of course.
I nominated Miss Sally Snyder for the Beyond School Time Tell Me Something Good in lieu of her beautiful bulletin boards. Sally took it upon herself to build this bulletin board in front of my classroom for Readers Become Leaders, our annual 5K race. Ms. Snyder put the applications on the wall along with many wonderful pictures of past races. The faculty members had stuff on runners' bodies, and they are saying funny things. I want to thank Bethany very much for this honor.
Hi everybody, I'm Joan Siemens, principal of Minot Forest School, and I'm here to tell you something good about Laura Cole, one of my teachers here at Minot Forest. Last year, Dr. Shaden Hood started the challenge to all of the schools to make our entrances more welcoming. We did that in Minot Forest 1, but we didn't stop there. The PTA started making Minot magical. So we had staff members and we had families who came. We did some breaking, we turned some plants, we added new plants, and during the springtime, those plants began to grow. And when plants begin to grow and the grass grows and then the weeds grow, well, I nominated Laura Cole because right before the school year began, she wanted to make sure that our entrance looked very nice for our new families that were coming from Degas and for our returning families. So I'm going to let Mrs. Cole tell you what she did.
Why, thank you, Mrs. Siemens. I was thrilled to be nominated for this award. I basically came in and cleaned up the gardens, took out the weeds in the front along each side of the steps leading to the school. Because we have a beautiful school, but it was sad to come in each day past all the weeds. And so I took out the weeds and put in 4x4 edging and got some more plants. And the edging and the plants, I was given a huge discount at Home Depot. So thanks to Home Depot for helping me make this possible. And I hope everybody enjoys the new gardens, the new gardens in front of the school.
And I nominated John Morata for the Tell Me Something Good campaign brought to you by the Office of Beyond School Time. There is a wonderful custodial staff here at Wareham Middle School, and among the professional and outstanding custodians we have here on staff, I found John to be worth the nomination. The number one reason I decided to nominate John was because in the summer, August, September was very, very hot in here. And we have these windows up here at the top, which I crawl up on the desk in the counter and open up every morning. And John was the first custodian that came in and said, "Oh, honey, no, you should come up there. I will close them for you." And I just thought that's terrific. John always has a smile on his face. He's always in a good mood. He sweats a lot. So you know he's working hard. But he's a custodian that actually is a substitute in the district, so with any luck, he'll show up in your building anytime soon. John?
I want to thank Lacey for nominating me. Great award, I do appreciate it. I've never been treated with such kindness and respect as I have here at Wareham Middle School. It's fine staff, and I really love my job. I come in every day, I try to make the teachers' room as clean as possible, because that might be the highlight of the whole day. And I really enjoy working.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome, thank you, Superintendent. Is there any from the committee that would like to express some good news?
I'm good.
You're good? All right, well,
Oh, well, no.
Mr. Sweat?
I volunteered to work with the middle school kids for intramural tennis. And I must say that I took on that responsibility with some trepidation, because I would not say one of my strengths is dealing with fifth graders.
Oh, I
But,
think you do terrific.
I was shocked that Mr. Perry handed me a group of, well, it's varied between 18 and 20 fifth graders and one wonderful sixth grader. And they have, after 5 weeks, been extraordinarily attentive, energetic. As a matter of fact, I think Nicole might admit that their energy exceeds the tennis team in the high school. So I just wanted to compliment, everybody at the middle school, in particular Mr. Perry, for giving me great kids to work with.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. That's great. Any other good news? Just a matter of reference that the combined conference of the Massachusetts School Committee Association and the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents is having a joint conference in Hyannis, and several delegates were there today. We were there all day long. Mr. Sweat and I were there all day long, and I think I've got 2 more members of the committee coming tomorrow for the conference. And I have to openly admit that I went to some outstanding workshops, and it was a very, very good event, and I look forward to the workshops tomorrow. So it was a really informative and educational experience. Good conference. Okay, without any further ado, let's move on to the minutes of October 15th.
Move approval?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of October 15th. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's 5-0-0. I'll entertain a motion for the workshop meeting of October 29th, and I have to make a caveat that I was really, really ill for that meeting, and I want to thank Mr. Flaherty for stepping in for me. So I do appreciate that. Thanks, Mike.
He enjoyed it.
You did. So I'll entertain a motion for the workshop minutes of October 29th.
So moved.
Second?
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 1. I'll abstain. So it'd be 4-0-1. Okay, next on the agenda is a request for a senior class trip. Okay, Mr. Palladino.
I'm going to turn it over to the senior class advisor, Ms. Christine Kuntz, who is going to also have some of the officers present their class trip. So I'll turn it over to Christine.
You told me I was going to be stuck in the front row.
You will in a second.
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, this is Cecilia Briggy. She's the class president.
You're going to have to speak into the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, first of all, this is Cecilia Briggy. She's the class president. Over to her right is my daughter Mia Sarkeesian. She is pretty much the head of the trip committee. And Giallen Perry, who is part of everything, right, Giallen? Yes, so Giallen extraordinaire. But I'll let them talk to you about the trip.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, everyone. So the senior class would just like to first personally thank all of you for putting us on your agenda. I knew you were very busy because, yeah. Anywho, as you know, today we are going to ask you about our senior class trip, which is hopefully going to be Hershey Park with your permission. And Cecilia Briggy, our great class president, is going to tell you more about that.
We're planning on staying in Hershey Lodge, which is a hotel sponsored by the park, for 2 nights. It will be a Friday to a Sunday, the last weekend in May. And we will be visiting the park and Amish country while we are in Pennsylvania. What else do I need to
Move the mic over.
Let me see. While we go, all meals will be included in the trip cost. There will be one chaperone to each 10 kids that go. So it'll be safe and fun for everyone. And there won't be too many extra expenses for the students other than like souvenirs they want to buy. So.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Oh, I'm sure they do. I'll entertain any questions from the committee at this time. Who would like to start? Mr. Sweat.
I was under the impression that a chocolate addiction was something that accumulated over time, and that was my rationale for having it. There must be another motivation associated with going to Hershey Park that you'd like to elaborate on at this moment.
I think that it's just going to be a good experience for the class as a whole to have one last hurrah, I guess, as a group. And I think that the rides in the park are part of the major attraction.
So it's not the dark chocolate?
No, not the chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay.
And to add on to that, it does have a huge, again, park of rides. And then there's also a water park included. So there's more to do than just eat chocolate.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Basically, we just thought that this venue would have a lot of options for everyone in the class, so everyone would feel great going, because there is a chocolate spa, and there's rides, and there's a museum. So people who want to go to the spa and get chocolate facials or something, or people want to go on the roller coaster. Fun for everyone. I'll be at the spa. Do you have any more questions?
Any other questions from the committee? Yes, Mr. Lazarus.
Thank you. Have you got a feel from your classmates that they want to do this trip?
We actually had a few meetings to get votings in of where the kids wanted to go, and this one was like the most feasible one that everyone agreed on.
We also sent a survey around to the class during our advisory period.
I see that this is, your cost per person is based on 50 people. Do you think you're going to have more than that? Would that mean?
If we did have more than that, we'd have to take a second motor coach, and it would increase the cost to about $380 a person. But that would fit 80 people.
And you're going to bring chocolate back for us, right?
Most definitely.
I prefer dark chocolate if you don't.
Chocolate for everyone on the school committee. Gift bag.
Yes.
We do not accept bribes.
No, we're going to vote now, and if they happen in the goodness of their hearts to bring it back to us, that's another story altogether.
Is there any other discussion at this time?
Just
Yeah, Mrs. Hugan.
the 50 people that you're expecting to go, is that average for a class trip? Do you know in the past, more or less?
Yeah, I think it is. For Disney it was.
And you're offering fundraising opportunities?
We have been offering fundraising opportunities over the last year or so, and there will be more individual fundraising opportunities.
Okay. Amish country is great for also making beautiful furniture, so. Yeah, that'd be great.
Are you saying you'd rather have a chair than chocolate?
No.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Sweat.
I do have one concern. I have read numerous studies which indicates that a teenager's ability to function before about 8:30, 9 o'clock best is limited, very limited. So the fact that you're starting at 5 a.m. concerns me.
Sleep on the bus.
Do you really think you're going to be able to physically get yourself to the high school by 5 o'clock in the morning?
I do believe that.
Because if you do, it will repudiate all those studies, and we won't have to worry about starting high school later.
Right.
You know, I think that because we're going to Hershey Park and there will be lots of chocolate and a chocolate spa, that people will want to get up and go onto the trip.
So it's all about incentives.
It's all about incentives.
Got it, okay.
If you gave us chocolate at school, we maybe all come more often.
I hope parents are listening.
I hope they are too. Hi, everyone. Call me.
Any other questions? My only concern is I'm sure that this is a redundant question because it's been asked 1,000 times. All of the safeguards will be in place, all of the permission slips will be in place, the chaperones will be in place, and all of the rules and regulations concerning any extracurricular activities will be in place. So with that expectation, I'll entertain a motion to approve this field trip.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Any chaperones requested?
Discussion, Mr. Flaherty?
Well, I considered being a chaperone, but it's on my anniversary, so I'm trying to figure a combo package deal there, but.
Good luck, buddy.
I'll have to get back.
All right, having no other further discussion, I'll entertain a motion. I have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? It's 5-0-0.
Have fun.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, acceptance of gifts, Madam Superintendent.
Thank you. I would be asking for a motion to accept $1,046.26 from Target to Minot Forest School. This was earned through the Red Card Take Charge of Education program.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to accept the Target contribution. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0-0. Madam Superintendent?
I would ask for a motion to approve $2,000 from the Wareham Summer Celebration to the Wareham Public Schools. This money will be used to address technology needs in the district.
So moved.
I have a
Second.
motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion on the summer celebration gift of $2,000 for technology needs? Very, very generous. Thank you.
Just a big thank you.
Big thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0-0. Does that conclude it?
It does.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is a discussion and a presentation by the superintendent for her goals for the upcoming school year. As you know, by her contract, she is obligated to submit her goals by the end of October. She did do that, and now she's going to present it to the school committee. The school committee then accepts the goals or accepts or amends the goals as presented, and then votes on it, and then at some point, and I would probably recommend at the next meeting that these goals be weighted for her evaluation. So we'll take one step at a time. Madam Superintendent.
Thank you. I'm presenting tonight 5 goals. The first goal, it would be to increase student academic growth. This addresses the district pillars 1 and 2, literacy and math. As you can see, the evidence will measure my goals, will be provided periodically, and it will report on student growth to all members of the school community. We will look at MCAST, the FAST data, SATs, PSATs, and interim benchmarks along with student portfolios to come up with the increased academic growth.
We'll take one goal at a time, okay?
Mhm.
You've heard the presentation. Is there any comment or discussion or clarity that members of the school committee need to make on goal number 1? Mr. Sweat.
Having participated in the superintendent goal process, and being very familiar with the evaluation template, as much as I think all of us appreciate this as a goal, as something the superintendent will be working on, it's not really appropriate as a goal. And for two reasons. One is that we would expect the superintendent to be working on this as a part of our normal responsibilities, meaning improving student achievement. And the second reason is that the state mandates that impact on student outcomes be a separate part of the template, separate from the goals. Now, that's not mandated for this past year, but it's coming soon. It may even be a part of next year's evaluation process. So the bottom line is, even though I completely agree it's a goal, I think using growth is appropriate. I even think these incremental improvements are modest and achievable, but aggressive at the same time. So I agree with all of it, except that it really can't be a goal within the definition of a goal as defined by the evaluation process.
But, just a clarity, but isn't that up to us?
Yes, we're 5 elected representatives, and we can do whatever we, so to speak, darn well please.
Right, but I mean, I don't think that that's casting granite in terms of what the state deems acceptable or non-acceptable.
No, but the section of the evaluation that is devoted to student achievement specifically addresses this, and there is a separate part of it for goals.
Okay.
So this would be redundant with that section.
Mr. Chair?
So what they're saying is that this is part of her normal duties anyways?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Mrs. Dugan.
When going through the evaluation process, I did, we went through and we evaluated the superintendent on that specific goal in there, which was student achievement. What I wasn't happy with was that there wasn't as much specifics as I was looking for within that evaluation piece, meaning, it talks about student achievement, but it doesn't drill down into here's where Wareham is and here's where we need to be for this year. And I'm going to hold the superintendent accountable to raise student achievement, but, test scores at a certain, and that goal doesn't do that. So how do we make sure that that is part of the process? And the only place right now that we can put that is in the goals section. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with evaluating the superintendent twice on student achievement, one in the state piece and then one in a specific goal, because we're basically saying it's that important.
So just a point of clarity, what you're saying is that academic achievement is part of the standards, those 4 standards that the
Yes.
superintendent is evaluated on, but it would also be part of the goals section, which is a separate section in which you would be evaluated on.
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is
there's
worth 60
one talking
points.
about the overall student achievement, and
Right.
then this is evaluated in her goals on a specific percentage increase or number.
Right, I understand, thank you. Is there anything else on goal 1? Mr. Sweat?
The only problem with that logic, if you will, is that if our superintendent, as we all hope, does really well, then technically, mathematically, we would be double counting that achievement based on the formula that we use to come up with a number. Conversely, if she did poorly, we would be dinging her twice for the same thing. So I still assert that even though I agree completely with the goal, it's a part of her normal duties and already part of the evaluation template.
But under the goals part of the evaluation process, she does have to submit a goal based on student achievement, focused on student achievement. She must submit, if I'm reading the document right, she must submit a goal focused on student achievement.
Yes, and because I participated
Right, I know, you
in the
know a
process,
lot more about it than I do.
the intent of that was a unique effort independent of the normal course of responsibilities, duties, et cetera, that would have an impact on student achievement.
So it's over and above the normal
The
efforts that
normal-
one would take in terms of improving student achievement.
Correct. That was the intent of that.
I have another question, Mr. Chair.
Mrs. Vugan?
So then, in the overall evaluation process, when they talk about student achievement, why don't they allow districts to set the bar on student achievement? Meaning that if they're, that we could put specifics around that goal. Because right now, it just doesn't exist. Where generally, it's subjective. Each one of us around student achievement will basically say how far that needle needed to be moved, and that's how we're going to evaluate her. Instead of saying within that district that the 5 or 7 person body would actually plug in specifics into that goal.
Mr. Sweat?
I apologize for going.
No, this is fine. We have to have this debate.
Okay. It is true that the section regarding student outcomes doesn't set a specific goal, and it does mean that an individual school committee member could say, gee, moving the ELA number from 41 to 61 is what I expect, and another one would say, moving at 1 point is what I expect, and that is, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your point of view, the latitude that every school committee member has in order defining acceptable student achievement outcomes. So, you're right, but that is the nature of the fact that we all get to make our individual decisions.
Does anyone else have anything to say on goal number 1? Mr. Flaherty?
Well, I listened to everybody, and I kind of agree with both of you, but I lean more toward Jeff on this one. We do need to quantify it, but it is redundant. So, Jeff, were you suggesting maybe replacing that goal with something else?
Well, by contract.
With your approval, Mr. Chair, can I respond?
Well, I think, yeah, you can respond, but I think we're bound almost by law to have her submit a student achievement goal.
And I was going to respond to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually think there are a number of initiatives that our superintendent and her staff have taken, will be taken, which will in fact impact student achievement. And I think it would be relatively easy to come up with something that was unique as compared to general, part of her normal operating responsibilities, to take the place of this. So yes, I agree we need one, but I do agree, but I also believe it needs to be a unique student outcome-oriented goal.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Sure, it has to be student achievement related, but it can be not redundant and unique.
Well, it's your goal, absolutely.
I certainly understand what you're saying. However, during my evaluation process, I would like to have a conversation about the student achievement goal and what I'm going to be evaluated on. And so we don't come to a point where we've raised student achievement by, let's just say, 5 percentage points, and somebody says, well, you should have raised it by more, and then I'm dinged. I would like to have some kind of guidelines or a discussion about the different increments that are acceptable that in the student achievement, just so we're all on the same playing field.
Mr. Chair?
Mrs. Vugan?
So if, to quote somebody saying before, we can, when it comes to the evaluation tool, we can make suggested changes to it on a district level, would it be the right next step to take a look at that part of the goal process and actually insert what our benchmark will be? So then we're meeting the needs of, or the feedback from this committee that we don't want to be redundant and we want to use this part of the goal process to go above and beyond, but that we're still setting the correct standard so then the superintendent knows exactly where to move the needle.
I'm not sure on that. I'm really not sure because I think we need to have a benchmark. There's no question, because she needs to have a baseline. There is no question about that. Whether or not it's double jeopardy in terms of being evaluated on the same criteria, I'm a little ambivalent about that, only because in going through the process this last time, and although not having the rubrics in front of me, the student achievement rubric takes into consideration a multitude of indicators, some of which are empirical and others that are not. Some of which are action-based and some of which are product-based. So there is a multitude of indicators on that rubric on the standards part of her evaluation that go beyond just the empirical part of the process. So from that perspective, I'm not totally sure if it is double jeopardy. But by the same token, I'm convinced that the superintendent needs to have a baseline. And as presented, this particular goal does provide a baseline. However, I guess I'm agreeing with everybody or disagreeing with everybody at some point in time. What Mr. Sweat has said is correct in that I've always been of the belief that a superintendent's goal should not be something that is normally done anyways. So if we've got the STEM initiative going on right now, then I would not be receptive to any goal pertaining to the STEM initiative because it's already going on. That's just an example. So I guess I can see merit for approving this goal as it sits right here, but by the same token, I definitely understand that it's evaluative criteria in two areas of our evaluation based on the same thing. Yes, Madam Superintendent.
I would be happy to create another student growth goal if you're willing to, well, not that I'm backing you into the corner, I don't want to sound like that, but if this could be one of the goals that's determined on the evaluation, so there is a common benchmark that we all understand, here's the base that we're going to use to measure, and I'll be happy to develop another goal that will be unique.
Mr. Chair?
Mrs. Hugan.
It's the same exact thing that we ask of our superintendent to do when she is supervising building principals or administrators, that there is an expectation that is set. And for us not to do the same thing for the superintendent, we get to an evaluation process that becomes subjective, like I said before, but also becomes about the wrong conversation instead of, black or white. Did she meet the goal or did she not? So I think that it's in the best interest of not only,
well,
this,
at what
this
level
process,
did she?
but then also the district to be able to set what that benchmark is.
But at what
and
level
someone.
did she meet the goal? Because
You
there
can't
are
just-
levels. There are levels of proficiency, obviously.
Right. You can't do that until you basically set
Right.
what the benchmark is. So
I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I need some direction. Mr. Sweat.
I think there's an inherent tension, not just in this district, but all over the Commonwealth and beyond, between the expectations of a school committee, individual members, and the expectations of what is achievable by a superintendent. In fact, that tension may in fact be part of the reason for the conflict that ensues as a result of a tenure during the tenure of a superintendent. So I can completely agree with my colleague, and I suspect our superintendent, that it is beneficial to create consensus around those expectations. Having said that, I still think growth and student achievement is part of the general responsibilities of a superintendent and her entire administrative staff, and it is just not what was envisioned for a goal. So separately, perhaps, we can have a discussion about what are reasonable expectations for improvement on the SGP and other indicators as the superintendent thinks are meaningful. But I think they should be separate and distinct from the goals for a school year.
Right. And this is why we're going through this conversation right now, is because this does, sort of define the direction of the district. So this is why this is so important. And,
Mr. Chair?
Mrs. Vugan.
What is the concern about adding it to the evaluation? Not in this form, not in her goals section, but being able to add specifics around the student achievement goal that's already been outlined by the state. Why can't we
In the standards section?
In the standards section. Why can't we put an, okay, so if we can say that what will come back to this committee and this goal around student achievement is that above and beyond, and what we need to do is have a discussion at the school committee around that piece in the standard and what will be added to that section of the standard around student achievement that will have specifics around SGP, around AP. We can actually have a discussion and actually put that into the standard for student achievement.
It won't fit the rubric, but it'll work.
I think we absolutely have that freedom, excuse me.
Of course we do.
I was just
Flaherty?
going to agree. I mean, so in those standards, you have, exemplary in the description, and then everything else is left blank. I mean, we can change that to whatever we want. I take it, right? So I think it would be perfectly appropriate to do that, and then replace this goal one with something else unique.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be all in favor for that.
So then, Mr. Chair, sorry. May I?
I guess.
So the next step here would be that the superintendent would come back and present what goal.
No, the next step is a motion.
I just meant that somehow the standard will need to be revised, recommended. So I'm just wondering who will be doing that. And is it the superintendent that would come back and in the standard put her recommendation that then will be reviewed by this committee?
They're her goals.
Yeah.
Mr. Flaherty?
Yeah, you said we weren't going to vote on this tonight, though. We was going to
No,
come
no,
back, right?
No. At some point in time, we have to weight the goals.
Oh, right, sure, yeah.
I had all the intentions in the world of voting on these goals tonight, but I didn't know if the committee wanted to vote on the weight tonight, because it's worth 60 points, so you can't, you can't get 60, I suppose you could. If you wanted to weight them equally, you got to decide that, because that was a problem a couple of years back.
Yeah, I think it was before my time, but you guys keep bringing it up.
Yeah. Well, it was a problem. I mean, you can certainly make the case for having every goal equally weighted, but certainly I would argue that there are goals and there are goals. And I would argue that, a student achievement goal is pretty darn important. So anyways, that's further down the road. I think a motion would be appropriate at this particular point in time, if someone would make the motion to expand on the standards part of that evaluation document on student achievement to provide for benchmarks and specifics, and to come back to the committee with a more specific student achievement orientated goal for the superintendent that would be more unique. Is that a good way to put it? So that's kind of the motion I'm looking for.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get that, Michelle?
Did you get that, Michelle?
Repeat that.
You're going to make me repeat it.
Superintendent's going to update the standard.
Go ahead.
I'll
Go ahead,
tell you
Michelle.
what I wrote.
Go ahead.
Expand on the standards part of the evaluation document on student achievement to provide for benchmark and specifics and come back to the committee with a unique student achievement goal.
Mr. Chair, that piece, not the development of the other goal, of the more unique goal, but that piece, I would be glad to work with the superintendent to develop.
I'm sure she'll, if she wants to help, she certainly would accept it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll second that motion.
All right.
Yeah.
But I need, out of fairness, because I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea here. This is a new process for all of us. And whether I like the process or not, it doesn't really matter, because it is the process. And so we're all working our way through this process, and it is a work in progress. And, you know, we're in some cases, you know, it might not run as smoothly as maybe we would like, but I would rather go slowly and do it right as opposed to rush something through that is not in the best interest of the superintendent, the kids, or the district itself. So even though it feels like we're kind of fumbling around up here, I think to proceed in a cautious way is prudent, and it is what we should do. So I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on goal number 1? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0-0. All right, let's hope we have better luck with goal
I
number 2.
know, I was almost afraid to go there. Goal number 2 talks about District Pillar 3 and 4. It's shifting the instructional change through allocation of resources. We're looking at safe and secure school. We'll look at ensuring a safe learning environment. We will use different measures to determine the attainment of this goal. We'll focus on procurement of technology and safe and secure resources outside the LEA budget. We'll be looking at receiving grants and foundation applications which focus on technology and safe and secure schools.
Okay, committee? Mrs. Vugan.
The one section that I just feel what the goal says, what A says, what B says, and the measurement, I think are all on track. They all are similar and support each other. Where I was just confused was the narrative underneath, where it talks about the superintendent will ensure a supporting learning environment by encouraging and promoting professional development. So there's professional development, but what this goal is talking about is procurement of technology and safety resources. So it seems more like a resource goal than a goal that's geared towards providing professional development opportunities for our staff. So the request that I had was just to revise that.
May I speak to that?
Sure.
Part of looking at providing a supportive learning community certainly does involve professional development. We're getting ready to undergo ALICE training for our staff. Every time we bring in technology or different technology, we have professional development. So professional development really does go hand in hand with some of these initiatives, and that's why the narrative was there.
Mr. Chair?
Mrs. Vugan?
So the suggestion that I would make is the superintendent will ensure a supportive learning community by, 1, procuring additional resources and by encouraging and supporting and initiating, promoting professional development. So because the majority of the goal does talk about the procurement of technology and safety, we just need to make sure that in the narrative, just in case anybody stops there, that we know that it also includes that piece of it.
Give me that verbiage again. By?
The superintendent will ensure a supportive learning community by procuring additional resources and by encouraging, you can take out supporting, and initiating and promoting professional development initiatives which increase the scope of district pillars 3 and 4.
So you just want a couple words added?
Yep,
And deleting one.
and deleting one.
Right.
You don't want to say,
Madam Superintendent, could you live with that verb
Absolute-
exchange?
Yes,
All right,
absolutely.
then we can do it as amended, if that's all right with the committee. Thank you, Mrs. Hugan.
Michelle, did you get that?
No, but.
Do you mind if I say it one more time, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair, just so she has it?
No, I want you to say it one more
Okay,
time.
go ahead. I'm
Okay.
gonna write it on here, because
Great.
I'm talking too fast.
All right, so the superintendent will ensure a supportive learning community by,
Insert,
insert procuring, I just can't say the word for the
Procuring.
fifth time, thank you. Additional resources, and by
And.
encouraging, initiating, and promoting professional development and initiatives which increase the scope of district pillars 3 and 4.
Take out supporting,
Yes,
just take out the,
yes.
okay,
that was my,
Yep, you're gonna take out supporting and then one of the ands.
okay.
right.
All set?
Anything further to be said on goal number 2? Then I'll accept a motion to accept goal number 2 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 500. Good job.
Thanks. Okay, we're on a roll now. Goal 3, to increase the leadership capabilities of all educators. Leadership really is the ability to inspire others to lead by building capacity, cultivating trust, and creating an organizational structure that values individual and collective strengths within the organization. In this goal, I will facilitate and serve as the key administrator in the process of completing the 5-year strategy, new strategic plan for the Wareham Public Schools. We'll look at current research to select and develop these strategic initiatives which will improve learners' outcomes. We'll look at student data, individual student performance, district data to identify the targeted areas for professional development for all staff. We'll also participate in the Professional Learning Network for Teacher Leadership.
Okay. Anyone? Comments? Discussion?
Outstanding.
I'll entertain a motion.
Oh,
Oh,
Mike has-
comment?
Yeah,
Mr. Flaherty?
I don't know why about this one, but the one thing that stuck out is she says it in a lot of these, but she says the committee will receive semi-annual reports documenting the progress made toward achieving this goal. And I think for this one, I'd like to see it more than twice a year. I'd like to maybe 3 times a year,
So quarterly?
even quarterly, yeah. I just don't want it to fall off the plate, and I think the professional development this past year, I think there was some training that occurred and we didn't know about it, or didn't, I forget what happened there with the budget and stuff. I don't want to, I want to make sure this gets done right, this particular goal.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Swett?
I'm sympathetic to my colleague, but I suspect that measuring this as frequently as quarterly is going to be somewhat difficult. If the superintendent feels that there can be meaningful measurements on 3 times a year, that's great. But part of the reason why I was satisfied with twice a year was because I'm sensitive to the difficulty in measuring it.
I'd just like to get updates.
Excuse me?
Okay.
Sounds like we have an
3.
agreement. 3.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can we amend that?
We will.
Committee will receive reports 3 times a year.
Do we need a motion for that, Michelle?
As amended when you accept it.
Okay.
Can someone make this amendment to insert, to cross out semi-annual and between reports and documenting, insert 3 times per year?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion on the amendment?
I mean, I was happy with 3.
All in favor with the amendment? All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? 500. Okay, is there anything else to be said on goal number 3? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. All those to accept goal number 3 as amended, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 500. Goal number 4.
Goal number 4 talks about district improvement and communication. Collaboration between our district and our community is vital to our success. I will model open and transparent communication by purposely actively listening to concerned or ideas from members of our community. I will work to increase opportunities to foster partnerships, strengthen existing partnerships, and engage in creating a district vision with all members of our school community.
Okay, you've heard goal number 4. Any comments or suggestions?
What was gonna say?
Mr. Sweat?
I didn't say anything.
Body language.
Mrs. Hugan?
I don't want to open up Pandora's box, but is this the same argument on goal 1? There is a whole entire goal on the standards that does talk about community engagement and fostering open communication. So is this goal doing the same thing as goal 1, and should it be more specific about an initiative? That's what he was going to say.
And, well,
What if we agree that this is very important on the other part of the evaluation, and I will come up with a unique goal that will be creatively in collaboration with the community?
because there has to be a goal on that, is that correct? Okay.
Mrs. Vugan was incredibly articulate in reading my mind.
She's so intelligent.
That's really a dangerous place
Oh,
for me to be,
God.
so.
So, the motion would be to, I don't know what the motion would be.
The same thing as
To
goal-
strengthen the standards part of the communication goal?
No.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Mrs. Vugan.
I think that this is not completely verbatim, but many of the things that are in this goal are already in the standard goal. So we don't need to revise the standard goal. I think that I feel pretty comfortable with the way that that standard is laid out and
Okay.
how we're evaluating her.
So basically,
It's just coming back and revising this goal.
okay, so
for something
we're
more
just not
specific.
going to act on goal number 4, it's going to be resubmitted.
Mhm.
All right, so we don't need a motion on that then, really?
I agree.
We don't need a motion, so she's going to resubmit goal number 4.
Okay, I'm going to go for 3 out of 2.
Okay.
For the next one, managing budgetary efficiencies. We will work to improve the budget while maintaining and improving the integrity of our school district. We'll be creating working goals for the FY16 budget. We'll work collaboratively with all administrators, and we will seek to provide various options and opportunities.
Well, I've been kind of silent, so I'll put my 2 cents on goal number 5. Personally, I don't think we need goal number 5. I don't think we need it at all. That's what we do. That's what the superintendent does, it's what we do as a committee, and she's only bound to submit 3 goals. If we throw this one out, she'll still have 4. So it's my opinion that we really don't need goal number 5 because it is what we do. So that's my 2 cents on that, goal number 5. Anyone else? Mrs. Vugan.
I'm a fan of this goal. And the main reason is that we talk a lot about the importance of kind of diving deeper and going above and beyond when it comes to the budget. And yes, we are fiscally prudent. Yes, we do our best to make sure that we're managing a budget that's in the best interest of the district. But there are additional things that can be done around the procurement of additional resources, around grants, as well as talking with the town and trying to realize additional. There are things that you can do above and beyond, and that's the reason why I would like to see if there are suggestions on how to revise it, but I'd like to see something about a specific thing that we are going to focus on this year when it comes to changing the picture of our bleak looking budget going into next year. So we know that every single year, we continue to have challenges with our budget, so what can be done above and beyond that is outside of just what we do?
I agree with everything you said, but it doesn't merit a goal by itself. Anyone else? Mr. Flaherty?
I find myself in the rare circumstance of agreeing 100% with Dr. Sylvia.
Oh, jeez.
You know, people took notes.
Anyone else?
I am not so chagrined that I agree with Dr. Sylvia. I do think, but I also think that even though Mrs. Vugan was trying to disagree, she was actually agreeing with you, just not nearly as well as she should have been, which is to say, we still need uniqueness. And what's missing from this is a unique component that makes it a specific 2016 goal. And that doesn't exist in these words. And that's what's missing. So this is redundant, unnecessary, and yet, as a goal, and yet it's something I know that the superintendent and her staff are going to be doing anyway.
Absolutely.
So,
And we as a committee is going to be doing.
Right. So by, quote, rejecting this goal, it should not be treated as a negative for our superintendent. It's just, we expect you to do a great job on this anyway, without it being a goal. So if we could create some specificity, a unique initiative that was unique in time, and that's critically important. I would expect you to do this in 2017, 18, 19, you're still going to be here in 25, right? So, so I would expect you to be doing that every year. But, so if there was something unique you wanted to try, and you thought was important in 2016 from a budgetary perspective, I think it absolutely belongs here. And I think Mrs. Vugan was trying to say precisely that.
When I read these goals, I got it right here in my notes, and I just said, this is just a budget strategy. What's outlined here is a budget strategy. And we can institute any number of budget strategies, and as well we should, in terms of the goals, in terms of working collaboratively with other boards and any number of things, to have a goal-based budget. So I think that we can adopt these strategies very easily, but again, it's Mike, and I think it'll give her a break. It'll be another goal that you don't have to keep track of. So I think that I can't make a motion, but certainly I would accept a motion to forego goal number 5.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to forego goal number 5 for 2014, 2015.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
We have potentially created a problem, which is to
I hope
say,
not.
which is to say, if 60%, which is the number this committee agreed upon a while ago.
Correct.
If 60% of a superintendent's evaluation is composed of her performance against a set of goals, the fewer the goals are, the more incredibly important those goals become.
Correct.
And
the weight we put on those goals.
And the way we put on those goals. But even if we weight them evenly, it's still 20, 20, 20.
Correct.
Right?
If there's 6. No, if there's 5.
If there's 3.
3, right.
Right. So I do think we
3.
should give the superintendent the opportunity to perhaps have as many goals as she would like that are unique to this coming year, to the year we're in, so that the weighting of that 60% is not so incredibly focused on three areas.
So what are you saying, to give her the license to submit additional goals?
Well, a unique budgetary goal, for example.
Oh,
I have total confidence
all right.
in her ability to come up with unique things that would be specifically pertain to 2016.
Well, she's revising 2 goals as it is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
All right, so if she
Although,
wants,
she's pained at the thought of
We've
it.
given her a
Yeah.
we've given her a pass on goal 5. If she wants to submit another budgetary goal, that's entirely up to her.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right, and
So there's a motion and a second.
I have a motion and a second to forego goal number 5. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And
Nay.
well, would that leave her the latitude to?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine, okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right, so I got, all in favor?
aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
All right. 4-1-0. Madam Superintendent, I want to thank you for your efforts. This was very professionally done. No, it was. It was very professionally done, and we're on a learning curve on this. And I don't want anyone to think that this was not done in a professional manner, but I hope everyone at this table, anyways, understands that we're trying to act in the best interest of the superintendent and the district, as well as conforming to the new legislation on evaluation. So without further ado, I'd like to move on, please, to the class size report.
You have in your packet the class size report dated November 4th, 2014. The current enrollment is 2,688 students. Last year, we had 2,804 students, so we're decreased by 116 students. If you have any specific questions about any of the grade levels, I'd be very happy to answer them, but this is our official enrollment as of November.
I would ask the committee if they have any specific questions on the entire report, to submit them at this particular point in time, but I don't think we need to go over number by number, line by line. So if any committee member has a specific question on a specific part of this report, I'm sure the superintendent will do her best to clarify. Is there anyone that has a question on the report at this time?
Just a quick comment.
Yes. Mr. Sweat.
Even though we're now down slightly below 2,700 students, when I added back all the students that we have, quote, lost to other locations, we are still almost 20% below where we were a little over a decade ago. So while people focus on the fact that the number of students we have are shrinking, it is more a demographic problem, which is to say people are having fewer children, people are moving out of Massachusetts. It's the same demographic problem that has caused Massachusetts to go from 16 representatives in Congress to, I think, 9. So I think we need to keep that in mind, that it's simply significantly part of the demographic shift in the population of this country.
And the only comment that I had to make on the report was, you know, overall, our class sizes are very good. And so I think that that is something that we certainly should be proud of and should maintain an effort, keep an effort to maintain that level. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll put it to bed. Next order of business is school committee reports. Superintendent's report.
Okay. Yesterday, we were contacted through the cafeteria that we've been awarded 3 grants. The first was in the amount of $3,991. This will be used to purchase breakfast bags and 2 new milk chests. The second were each in the amount of $10,000, so $10,000 will go to Minot and $10,000 will go to Deacon's. This will fund additional breakfast in the classroom equipment as well as other equipment for our cafeteria. So congratulations to Mrs. Perry and members of the cafeteria staff for their hard work in submitting the grants. A reminder that the Educational Foundation is requesting grant submission. Friday is the deadline. On November 4th, bus bids were opened. Several bus bids were received. We're currently doing our due diligence to ensure that the bid specs were met with the various bids. Our intent remains to purchase 5 vehicles, 3 regular buses, and 2 special education buses. As a side note, the bid did come in under our budgeted amount, so we're very appreciative and happy about that. On November 10th, students at the middle school, high school, and at the elementaries will be placing flags either on the side of Viking Drive or on the lawns of our schools. This is done to honor our veterans. We certainly appreciate everything that the veterans have done for us and what they do for us in our community. And this gesture is a way of demonstrating our gratitude and thanks. The high school roof project is moving along, and we anticipate completion by Thanksgiving vacation. A reminder to the committee and administrators, we're having a budget workshop on November 12th. This is a joint meeting with administrators. We will be discussing and developing our budget goals and articulating our non-negotiables. The Viking Theater Company is presenting Alice in Wonderland. This show runs December 4th through December 7th. Will begin each night at 7 o'clock. Pre-sale tickets begin this week. And on another note, season passes are also available, and there are 3 shows that will happen throughout the year. And finally, November is National College Application Month, and we send all our positive thoughts to the members of senior class as they prepare and send in their applications.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Swett.
The superintendent used a term that we all used a couple of weeks ago, which was, or maybe it was only a week ago, which was non-negotiables. I think some, and then that was repeated in the press. I think some people interpreted that way in a way that I don't interpret it, and so I'm only speaking for myself, but I'd like to get a sense of the way I interpreted that term is the way the rest of the committee interpreted it. The way I interpreted it was, we're going to get a certain amount of money. We hope we get as much as possible to meet the needs of our kids, but we have fiscal constraints. Once we've figured out how much we're going to get, how we use that money is critically important, and the prioritization of the use of that money is critically important. And some of us will have different notions about what is the most important thing, i.e. non-negotiable, and what is less important, and therefore, so to speak, negotiable. I think in some cases it was interpreted as, no matter what the town says, we're going to have certain things, and that's non-negotiable. And that's not what I meant, and I want to be sure that that's not what other committee members meant, and perhaps the superintendent meant.
Okay.
How well did I interpret the term non-negotiable, is I guess what I'm asking.
I think you did.
Yeah,
I did.
you did.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Lazarus.
May I add one thing to
You can do anything your little
your...
heart desires.
I'm sorry?
You can do anything your little heart desires.
But it's on
Thank you.
camera.
I'm sorry?
But it's on camera.
That's fine. May I add one thing, in that you made a pitch for some theater company?
Yes.
Yes.
High school.
Well, this Friday, there is going to be theater at the library.
That's right.
The library is going to be the location for Murder in the Library for the 2nd year, and it is being directed by Judy Whiteside. It should be very entertaining, and I would hope that as many of you as are watching can show up for this. I think the tickets are $25. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And that will include a very entertaining evening plus food.
And we have several members on stage that will be participating in that, is that correct?
Yeah, I've been sort of avoiding.
And you will be available for autographs at the conclusion?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Sweat?
Can I assume that the reason this wasn't brought up under good news was you expect to be embarrassed?
I expect what? I'm
To
sorry.
be embarrassed?
I don't embarrass easily.
Is it this Friday?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes. I have some if you would like some.
Okay. We done with that, Madam Superintendent?
Well, one other thing, I would just say that please check out the new channels on Wareham On Demand. We have a number of shows. We have 30 videos happening in our school system. We have one, Tell Me Something Good, and we have our school tours. So if you've never seen the inside, or you haven't been in the inside of our schools for a period of time, you can go on television and watch what the inside of our schools look like.
Very good. Okay, next on the agenda is we have a report from the Policy Review Committee.
Yes, and my thanks to Dr. Schwab for taking notes. This was mostly a housekeeping process, which is to say there wasn't a whole lot of debate, although we didn't run through everything and approve everything, but I will go through them relatively quickly. The first one related to the budget process, and unfortunately, and I take full responsibility of this, we were supposed to correct a date, and unfortunately we didn't, so we'll have to correct it next time because it was supposed to be January 5th and not December 15th. So we'll have to take care of that at the next meeting.
Okay.
In addition, it was an issue in the policy because it did not refer to the fact that by charter now, the hearing has to include the town administrator, and the finance committee, and the Board of Selectmen. So we took care of both those issues, one correctly and one incorrectly, but we'll fix the date.
So you're going to come back with the budget policy, is that correct?
We can, or you can approve it as, the only change you need to make is at January 5th, and I'm sure the Policy Review Committee will not have a problem with that. It's your choice.
January 5th on what?
The submission of the budget to the town.
January, well, it says January 5th.
Oh, that's because Michelle is on top of things, yes, as usual.
So it's as printed?
As printed, yes, correct. But not as voted and not as in the minutes because Andrea was accurate in the way she recorded the discussion.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
No, it won't be.
So I think that we can, if you want to vote on
Fine.
them individually.
Sure.
All right, I'll take a motion to accept the budget policy.
So moved.
I have a motion, any seconds?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 500. Mr. Sweat?
The student activity accounts, they were basically, not basically, they were just updated to reflect the schools, because there have been changes in the schools. Other than that, there were no changes.
Okay, so the changes are as submitted?
As submitted, yes.
And you submitted those changes?
Yes.
If I remember correctly. Okay,
Yes.
I'm just trying to find it. Give me a minute.
Student activity accounts.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept student activities as corrected, as changed.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Flaherty?
At the meeting, was there any further discussion on where to hold the money and all that stuff?
No.
My only discussion, my only question was, they made reference to the overage over whatever's in the checking account being in an interest-bearing account. But I didn't have a real clear understanding as to who gets the interest and where does it go?
The account goes in, the interest goes into the account.
It goes into the general fund.
No, it goes
No.
into the student
The s-
activity account.
It goes into the town
Yeah,
portion of the
don't
student.
hold your breath on the value of this. We found out the $1 million is being invested at 0.3%, so.
Right, I know, I know. But still, the point is, I used to do this, that's why I ask. All right, and even though the interest was, not a whole lot of money, but it was some money that could be used for kids.
Stays in there.
But it doesn't, but my point is, it doesn't get attributed to a particular account.
To the extent that these
In
accounts.
other words, let me give you an
Sorry.
example.
Go ahead.
All right, let's assume for a minute that the senior class has $2,000. All right? And let's say that overall, all of the activities put together gets interest of $100. Does that senior class get a portion of that $100?
I will check with Mr. Foster to see how precisely he apportions
But
the
it's
interest.
not actually in the policy.
Correct.
All right. I'll accept, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 500. Now, I would be concerned, I'd like to, find out where it really does go.
Well, this is a minor digression, but you'll be happy to know that as a result of this issue being raised at town meeting, Mr. Foster and I had a discussion, and Mr. Sullivan and I had a discussion, and it looks like we will be able to invest that almost $1,600,000 in the stabilization account in a much better earnings account.
I would hope. All right.
So,
Continue, Mr. Sweat.
closing one school. We made two fundamental changes in this policy. One was same as the prior one. We changed the schools because they've changed, but it was also pointed out by one of the members that they really didn't want students going to town hall. And it was agreed by administration who were present that we could delete having students go to town hall because there was enough room in the middle and high schools, depending on which schools were closed. So those are the two changes that were approved.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Second? I have a second. Any further discussion?
Just, what lines were those?
Mr. Flaherty?
Excuse me?
Which lines were those that would change?
Oh, I don't have the policy in front of me, but it had to do with anywhere it said town hall, and I believe it referenced it twice, it was simply deleted.
Oh.
Because in the past, there was an alternative of going to town hall or the middle school or the high school, and we simply deleted town hall because there's room to go to either one of those schools and not have to use town hall.
Okay.
Is that enough? Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 500. Mr. Sweat?
Emergency health procedures. I'm not asking you to vote on this. It'll be revisited. It had to do with a lice policy. There was also some discussions about epinephrine on buses. Bottom line is we'll be back to you on this one.
Okay.
Physical restraint. This was approved. It's a pretty heavy-duty policy, and it has significant implications, but it is now consistent with Mass General Law.
No changes?
No changes as submitted.
Okay.
Still needs to be voted.
I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. A physical restraint policy be accepted as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 500. Mr. Sweat?
Harassment. Made some changes to telephone numbers, which are, as you see in front of you, and we changed the title of Director of Special Education to Director of Student Services.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 500. Mr. Sweat?
Administration of medications, no action is necessary because we tabled it because we wanted to get some further input from our nurses.
All right.
Internship site. This was changed to reflect the new background checks. Other than that, there's nothing.
So it's compliance with the law.
Exactly.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for, the name of the policy is?
Internship site.
Internship sites. Any further discussion on internship sites?
Needless to say, we included the interns
Right.
in the background check policy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 500. Mr. Swett?
And finally, the only one where we thought there might be significant committee discussion, and I think, and my colleague, Mr. Lazarus, can feel free to disagree, I think we tried to stay somewhat in the background and listen mostly to the other non-school committee members of the committee, which had to do with public participation at school committee meetings. And after some lengthy discussion, somewhat to my surprise, the committee decided no change in the policy. I think, and feel free to jump in, Mel, I think basically it was felt that since we publish the agenda, and that gives people the opportunity to speak during public participation on anything related to the agenda, and that was enough in order to make sure that we heard what people cared about. And a number of different concepts were presented and rejected by the members, by the parents and the staff that were there. Anything you'd want to add to that, Mel?
No, I think that about covers it.
So.
No change.
No change. Now, that does not mean we can't make changes tonight.
We're the policymakers.
We're the policymakers, but I'm just saying that our advisory group didn't feel there was any necessary to make a change.
Right. Well, we'll put it on an agenda if we need to bring it up again. Anything else?
Well, we
I have one question regarding that.
Go ahead.
Well, if that was considered a review of the policy, and we didn't make any changes, do we still need to vote to affirm that
Yes.
policy?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
okay.
yeah.
Just a quick
On
question.
on the policy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, at any time, can a school committee member come to the chair around a specific agenda item and request the public participation is added to that agenda item? After that agenda item?
I think that goes against the spirit of the policy. That would be my interpretation.
I look forward to the discussion at a future meeting. Thank you.
And that was it.
All right, I need a motion to accept the public participation policy without a change.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
4-1-0. Okay, moving on. Does that conclude your report, Mr. Swett?
Yes, it does.
All right, thank you. Moving on, any other business at this time?
Just regarding the policy review.
Mr. Flaherty?
I didn't know whether to bring this up during policy review or at the other business, but back in August, we had a discussion about the extracurricular and, having a stakeholder group get together and, come up with a policy or some feedback on a policy regarding that, great grades and such for people participating in extracurricular. Just where does that stand right now?
Mr. Palladino has formed the committee, and they're going to be meeting. Mr. Lazarus is a representative from the school committee on that
Okay.
committee.
They haven't met yet, though?
No,
I'm sorry?
you've not met yet, but they will be
13th.
meeting.
The 13th of this month?
Yes, sir.
And when would we have to, I remember when we first discussed this, I think Dr. Sylvia brought up that, the handbook was already in place, and like, when would we have to actually decide something on this, so it's set either way?
To be safe, we would need something by April, so we can get it ready for
Well, you have to amend the
printing.
handbook.
Yeah.
Right.
And it would have to come to the committee to vote.
Before April?
I think we brought it to the committee last year, first part of May, because then it goes out to print.
So we'd have to vote before then, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Okay, any other business at this time?
Yes.
Mr. Sweat.
I just wanted to very quickly report on the results of the delegate assembly as it pertains to the resolutions.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
this-
that'd be great. Thank you. And you did a great job for us, too.
Thank you. There was very little debate and virtually unanimous approval of, although there was a constructive amendment, to the idea of out-of-district placement schools reporting with a great deal of specificity their finances. So that was approved, and this committee supported that resolution. There was a fair amount of debate, much to my surprise, frankly, on the whole notion of getting the state of Massachusetts to provide access to good quality universal pre-K. I thought, and I suspected others did, that it was going to slide through, but there seemed to be some concern that if they did this, it would, A, take money away from other things we wanted, and B, it would, even worse, be an unfunded mandate. I think those that felt it was going to be an unfunded mandate didn't read the resolution correctly, because it's clearly not a mandate. In fact, it doesn't even say the schools need to provide it. It just says the state needs to appropriate money so that it's available. It could come from the Y, it could come from the schools, it could come from Head Start, et cetera. But after a fair amount of debate, it passed 2-1, meaning 2 favorable votes for every 1 negative vote. And there were about a little over 100 delegates. The charter school reform resolution passed without much ado. Same with fingerprinting. The reinstitution of earmarking. I guess I would say I probably was the only dissenter because I said that the committee felt that though we wanted as much fiscal support as possible, we didn't think it was necessarily the right way to get it by wasteful spending. Much to my surprise, almost a third of the people agreed with me, although no one got up to say anything in support of it, but they just voted in the direction the school committee felt. Nevertheless, the bottom line is we're going to be advocating for earmarks at a federal level. The unfunded mandate and new testing resolution was passed without any problem. Where we hit the proverbial wall in terms of debate was candidly where the Mass Board of Directors thought we might hit it, which is to say there was a resolution regarding asking the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to conduct, quote, further examination of options for state evaluation and accountability systems and to substantially involve educators and school committee members in that process. We suspected that a lot of people would view this as an opportunity to say, we don't like Common Core, we don't like Park, and get rid of it all. That is, in fact, exactly what happened. Someone, I'm trying to remember which district it was, doesn't matter. Someone actually got up and recommended that the state suspend the Common Core and Park within the state of Massachusetts. That produced a tremendous amount of debate and amendments. And in the end, and I voted against the amendment, but it passed anyway. Well, I guess a few delegates had left, 58 to 27 as amended, which basically says we're supposed to advocate that both Common Core and Park get re-examined by the state. As I said, there were a multitude of amendments. The first resolution would have been really only looking at evaluation and accountability and assessments. This amendment then included Common Core. There were a lot of people who felt, as we did, that Common Core is a plus, and that's an independent. In fact, I specifically said we really can't put Common Core and Park in the same sentence, and I had other people agree with that. But in the end, there was so much negative sentiment about what parents apparently are saying in some districts about the impact of Common Core on teachers, on students, and of course Park was even worse. So in theory, this means that MASC will be advocating for the reexamination of Common Core and Park. My guess is that this resolution, and this is just me talking, will have zero impact, because Common Core is embedded in the frameworks. It is not going anywhere. It would be tremendously expensive to have districts suddenly say, okay, we have to come up with a whole new curriculum based on something else, or go back to the old curriculum. But our chair was there. Anything you'd like to add about this debate?
No, you did a fine job.
So, we'll see. But that was the result of the resolutions and the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Sweat. Any other business at this time? I have one piece. I was contacted by Mr. Slavin, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, and he wants to have another one of those joint meetings in the middle of November. I told him I could not speak for the board. I told him that we did have a meeting on the 19th already scheduled, and he threw out a couple of dates. One was Tuesday the 18th, and I believe one was Thursday the 20th. I did not commit the school committee to anything, but I do want you to know he is desirous of having another meeting. I did not pin him down on the dates, but I want to say it was the 18th or possibly the 20th. The 18th is a Tuesday and the 20th is a Thursday. But it's entirely up to the committee whether or not you want to participate and whether or not you're available on those days. Mrs. Vugan.
Mr. Chair, similar to what I know I've communicated in the past is I'm happy to meet as long as there is an agenda that's put together with clear goals that we want to achieve at the end of that meeting. And so both of those dates work for me, but I would say that I would want to see an agenda
ahead of time
beforehand.
Okay.
With, I just need to say it again, with clear outcomes that are expected for the end of that meeting.
Your desire to have it be productive is shocking.
Yes. I think it can be done.
When is our meeting for the non-negotiables? Is that the 12th?
I believe so.
Yeah, and then we have a regular meeting, the 19th?
Yes. For the record, I can't make the 18th. I could, as long as it was approved by the chair and Mrs. Vugan's standards. I could make the 20th.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I will not be available on the 20th.
Okay. Well, I sense that no matter what, we probably have a quorum, because I just happen to be available on both. I'm not really available on 20th, but I would make myself available on 20th, but I am available on the 18th. So we would have at least a quorum.
Well, I should correct. I have a 5:30 to 7 meeting in New Bedford,
Right.
so I guess
and again, I don't know what,
late.
right, I don't know what time, and again, nothing has been pinned down, but I'm hearing Mrs. Vugan loud and clear. But I guess what I need to know is, are we desirous of proceeding with this meeting if in fact we do have an agenda with clear outcomes specified on the agenda? Are we in favor of doing
Yes.
this?
Yes.
Okay. So I will get a hold of Mr. Slavin at my first opportunity and tell him that most of us are available on the 18th. Okay?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Can we also make sure that the superintendent and the town administrator, or can you make a request that the superintendent and the town administrator
I guess you already made it.
are also invited?
I
No,
guess-
through the chair, to the chair of the
Well, I guess
Board
you
of
already made
Selectmen
it.
that-
Well, I would hope that they would be invited, yes.
And our student rep,
Yeah.
and who else can I
Right.
Yes, but the student rep has to promise not to yawn.
Is there anything else to be said at this meeting? I want to thank everyone for their patience tonight, and I certainly want to thank the superintendent for her patience as we go through with this process. Thank you, Madam Superintendent. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right. We are now adjourned.